The Healing Podcast.
Where laughter meets inner peace.
We're your host, Shaka.
And I'm Kiana.
And we just want to thank you for tuning in to another episode of your favorite podcast, Enlightening and Healing. We want to thank everyone that liked, comment, send us question, and subscribe. And if you have not subscribed us yet, ensure you hit that subscribe button. It really means the world to us. Now, today we have a brand new topic, and it's a really, really good topic. What are we talking about today?
So today we're talking about love. Love. Is it enough to stay together in a relationship? Is love enough? That's the question today. So Shaka, tell me, would you be with someone solely because of love? That's it. You love them.
I would say maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Because I feel like love is super important. I feel like and you know me, I always say love is like, love is love, and God's love. So I feel like love is like one of the biggest things behind anything, any relationship, right? However,
is love enough?
However, it can be the only thing to sustain a relationship. It can be the only thing to sustain a relationship. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
What about you?
No, it's not enough.
Okay, so what?
Love is one component in a relationship.
But how big?
How big? Let's say we're doing out of 100.
Yeah, out of 100%.
Out of 100%. That's a good one. I would say probably 50%.
So love is 50%. And then, so what is the other 50%?
Trust, compatibility.
Compatibility.
Actions. There's so much things. I mean, technically, love is an action word,
Yes.
So some may argue that if you have love, you have all of those things, right? But which is true if you use love in that context. But to me, a lot of times people use love in the sense of emotions that they feel like when you think of this person, they give you butterfly, they make you smile, you want to be with them or stuff like that. So a lot of times, like, that's the love that people are talking about. Like, this person makes me so happy, I want to be with them. But is it enough? If the feelings of love is enough, and I don't think it is.
Okay, why?
Because in life, there's more than feelings, You have, like, compatibility is a huge one. I feel like there's times where you can love someone emotionally, but you guys are not compatible to be with each other, because due to lifestyle, different wants, different needs, different type of personalities. Not to say that two type of personality can work, but some personalities might not work well together. So many other things can go into that.
Okay. Well, you said love is a doing word or a verb or
action word.
Action word. I think thinking about primary school, verb. The definition of verb is an action or doing word. So what kind of action does love portray then? Because as you mentioned before, like, a lot of people use the action of love to say, well, that encompasses everything. So what if the love means that you're giving the person the things that they need?
That is true. If you are, like, if you're someone who, like, let's say you're a Christian and you're all of Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 13, love is kind, love is, all those things. Let's say for your definition of love is exactly that, like, it entails those things. I think you have a better understanding of knowing that love is more than just the emotion it evokes. It's action, it's doing, it's actively trying to seek out the best in that person, and vice versa. It's being patient, it's being long-suffering, meaning it's forgiving, it's all those things. So someone who can understand that, I feel like they know for a fact that love is way more than just the typical emotions or the lovey-dovey feeling that you may get. So I feel like when we're talking about love is not enough, I don't think it's targeted at those type of people who, you know, understand that it is more than just cutesy pictures, matching shirts. Not to say things are wrong with those things,
But it's not love.
but people have like this idea whereby, you know, an image of what love is rather than the actual work of love. So I feel like what we're trying to say when we say love is not enough is to bring forth the action of love, because it is more than a mere word, it's more than a mere feeling, it's actually actions.
Okay, so you mentioned before that love is like 50%, and then you have other things like compatibility and trust and all those things like break up in the other 50%. But you're saying that you're going to give up 50%. Because 50%, that means it's super important.
Yeah.
So you're going to give up the 50% for like a 10% or something else?
What do you mean, give up 50% of
Because
love?
you said the out of the 100, right? 50% of it is love.
Yeah, so 50% of it is love. It's the feeling of love.
Yes.
It's the word of love. You know, the attraction of love, because all of that stuff is important. You know.
Good.
But what is the point in having that without having the rest? That 50%. And what's the point in having compatibility without having the rest? Like they all go hand in hand.
So it can be 50% then.
What do you mean?
Because you said it's 50% importance and level of importance.
50% of love, and the rest makes up the other 50%.
So okay, how about the level of importance then? That's what I mean.
Love is. I feel like
So love
is
on top of the list.
Absolutely.
So, but if you get love, but let's say, but everything else. So let's say everything else is split into like 10% equals the 50%. You're saying like 10% compatibility is 10%.
Love is the base.
Okay.
So love cannot be taken away. Like that's the foundation. But what we're saying,
But you
on top of this foundation, you need to have compatibility. You need to have understanding. You need to have all this other stuff on top of it. Because without love, there's nothing. What's the basis on? There's literally nothing. Well, I'm compatible with my friends, but I mean I'm in love with them.
Okay. So you're saying that you have to have the love with the compatibility and all the other things.
They all go hand in hand.
Okay.
So I feel like what happens is people focus too much on just love instead of the other things. The other things are important, just as important. So even though I'm saying 50%, what I'm saying is I don't mean it's 50% in the way that it can be taken away. It cannot be taken away. The stuff like that literally go hand in hand. Because what will happen is you have love, but there's no compatibility. That relationship will never work. It will only be a time until it crumbles, or you stay and suffer.
Okay.
Truth be told.
Okay, so if love is not enough, what would be the one other thing besides love? Compatibility? Is that the things that you must have besides love? Like, what are the things that it's there, but it's not that important? Or what would be? Okay.
I would say it depends on the person, what you prioritize as important to you, because everyone is different in that regard. Because for some people, they might want, let's say, I would say love and compatibility is definitely like goes hand in hand.
Okay.
Right? But then somebody might be, in addition to love, you know, they want to be able to same family goals, like having the same values.
Okay.
You know, and those things vary because they can, as long as the two persons matches up on what those values are, then it makes sense that, you know, they will be, once again, it goes back to compatibility once again. So a lot of those things goes back into compatibility, because you can have love for somebody, so much love, but if you're not compatible, it will make the relationship really hard because you're not on the same page.
Okay, so what makes people compatible then? Like, what are the attributes?
It depends. Compatibility basically means that, not to say that you're the same, but you have like a similar vision, a similar outlook for life. So you're essentially on the same page, whatever that may look like, whatever it is. You guys want to retire at 30, as an example, and you're like, okay, you met someone who shared that same goal, you know, that can be considered compatibility. Both of you like doing things, let's say both of you are introverted, for instance, you like gaming, you know, you're both okay with being at home a lot, versus one person being an introvert and another person being an extrovert. Not to say that it can't work.
Yeah.
And then the issue coming is that the introvert wants to stay home and game, and then the extrovert want to go out and party, and then it can cause friction.
Yeah, that's
the
true.
Compatibility can be whatever it is that is happening, and whatever it is that each person wants to do, and like they're on the same page, or not even the same. They could be on the same page but apart. It don't have to be the same exact specific thing. What are some reasons that love is not enough?
Well, if you're looking at love from from a feeling standpoint, that you have this affection for somebody, attracted to them, you guys, have like some kind of passion or whatever. That's how I'm looking at it. You have to look at, even though that's good, you have to look at the other things in the relationship, because a relationship is supposed to be a positive in your life, right? A relationship is not supposed to take away, and I feel like a lot of times people think that relationship is a lot about giving, but if you're not receiving as well, it's pointless, right? So for me, I think, especially relationship, I always go to the extreme end. If you're in love with this person, but then you're experiencing literally some kind of abuse. You understand? Obviously, love will be enough there.
Yes.
And I know, like, some people be like, well, oh, yeah, there's an extreme case, but there's so many
seriously,
cases.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Because I remember I had anonymously this person I knew that was this guy was in love with her and vice versa, and he would go above and beyond for her, like above and beyond, and I'm like, okay, he really loved her, right? So then come to find out, a lot of the things that he would tell her was lies, right? So at first, right, her reasoning, her explanation was that he loves her so much that he lied to her because he didn't want to tell her the truth.
What?
But then, yeah, but that's what people think, right? The reason why somebody doesn't tell you the truth is because of they love, like they're trying to protect you, they're trying to shield you, they're trying to show this best image of themselves to you because they want to be chosen so badly. Then one of our mutual friends were like,
"But that's the seed."
That's not love. Love, if someone loves you, they can't lie to you. They cannot cheat on you. And so a lot of times people, mistake this emotion of what love is.
Yes.
And,
justify it
based on emotion. But what about the other, components of love, like loyalty and trust?
Yeah. So like for me, I put I put everything on happiness, right? So because happiness is the most important thing for me. So even though I love this person, if what you're doing is not bringing me happiness, then I'm not going to do it. Even though you might bring me happiness for a period of time, I'm not going to use that small piece, because a lot of times people have happiness at the beginning of the relationship, right? And then during the relationship, it's a lot of problems, and then you focus on the happiness. No, we focusing on the no. We focusing on the no. What thing was in the past, and now what things could be. We focusing on what's happening right now, right? So you gotta see what is bringing you joy. Even if you love this person, sometimes you gotta love people and let them go, right? Because love cannot be enough if you're not experiencing joy. So if that person is abusing you, that's not joy. If that person is lying to you, I don't understand how somebody could lie to you and then you're okay with that, because a lie is dangerous. That's, that it's super, super dangerous. Even if you think you're doing it to keep you, then that's like holding you hostage, because you're staying for something that's fake. You're not staying for something that is real, right? So,
and they're robbing you of your choice. Like,
correct.
When someone lies to you, they're literally taking away your choice, because if they had been truthful, it would have given you a more accurate representation of what's happening, so you can make the decision, right choice for yourself. Yeah. So it's a lot. That is not love,
So, exactly.
Yeah.
Also, having good communication, I think, is very important. So important. Because a lot of times, like, you can't even love someone if they don't tell you how to love them, or you don't tell them how to love you. I feel like having communication is very, very important. If you guys don't have good, healthy communication, that's definitely is a big deal. Like, even let's say you like somebody, you love somebody, but then you text them and you don't get text back for days. I can't even. I'm sorry. You don't get, if you getting ghosted, you don't get text back. I'm sorry, that's not good communication. Good communication requires text back and text back on a timely manner. Yes. Don't let anybody tell you that they was busy whole day till the next day, 3 days, 8 days later. It ain't gonna work. You understand? A relationship requires a good, healthy relationship requires effective communication. Right? So you need to make sure that's a huge. So another one is having the same goals. Because if you guys don't have the same goals, it's going to be very difficult in the relationship. Because if somebody wants to, let's say, save all their money to do something, or somebody else want to save all their money so they could travel, or somebody not even interested in traveling, or even the way you want to grow in life, because a lot of people, they're contented with having a certain thing, a certain thing in life. However, somebody else want to do more in life, you're gonna have trouble with that. So having that, talking about that before is very important. Before you get together, like, just assess where that person is.
Absolutely.
Right? Assess where that person is. Assess what that person want to do in their life. So, because if you don't, trust me, that's gonna be a huge problem. Even like how you spend money and all those different things, like, that's a big deal. So even though you love that person, you guys don't have the same goals, you're gonna end up in trouble.
Yeah.
Also, intimacy. I think intimacy is a big one, especially, it's big. You want to have that, be able to be on the same intimacy level. That's what I would say, right? So, especially sexually. If you know, not for reals, right? If that person want to do a certain things and you're not comfortable with it, you're gonna end up in trouble. You're gonna end up in trouble. So you want to ensure that you're all on the same level sexually, right? And you on the same level even with intimacy. So even like somebody like to hug, somebody like to touch, somebody like to kiss, and that person don't like to hug, that you're gonna end up in trouble. You're gonna argue all the time.
Yes, unless you can compromise. And I feel like, for me, like, one of the reasons that we were saying that love is not enough has to do with compatibility. I know yours is happiness. Like,
happiness is number one for me.
Yeah, but compatibility is so important, because you have to be able to be on the same page. And even if you're not on the same page, you have to compromise with each other. To me, there's compromise, and a healthy compromise, not like one person doing all the compromising and the other person not doing any of it. Then it presents an imbalance in the relationship. So to me, whenever there's like a healthy compromise whereby, for example, an introvert who's with an extrovert, an introvert may not want to go to all the parties that an extrovert want to go to. And so two things would need to happen there. One, the introvert would need to be okay with going to some of the parties, maybe not all, but every other one they would go to, and they will be okay with the extrovert going out, either by them with their friends or whatever, and vice versa. The extrovert needs to also understand that the introvert is not going to want to be doing that all of the time, and they should also do some of the things that they would like. So it has to be a two-way street. So it has compatibility, compromise, all of that goes hand in hand.
I think it does go hand in hand, but I feel like you could have your hard limits.
Yes.
Yes. So for me, at the beginning of the relationship, and I think experience is important. You know what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do.
Yeah.
So if this person is like want this specific thing, and you know for sure in the long run, because a lot of times in the long run you ain't want it.
Yes.
Just go.
Especially if it's big things like kids
just go.
And stuff like that. Yes.
Just go. Right. So I think especially knowing what you like is very important. But it's a whole different thing, because if you don't know what you like, you end up in trouble. Right? So,
yes.
Financial stability is another thing, like dealing with finances. Like, once again, divorce happens most of the time because of finances, and if y'all ain't get money in order, you'll get in trouble. Like, money is such a big deal. And if you know this person likes spend and you like to save, no matter how much love you have, you're gonna end up in trouble. You understand? Because y'all have different goals. Money is such a big deal, and you don't want that at all. So I think that having that money talk is being on the same page with money is like A1. Like, get that done first, because you don't want problems when it comes to money. Like, it's gonna ruin the relationship. It's gonna ruin the relationship. So love can't be bigger than money. I'm sorry. Because, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and some other things, that definitely comes into play that makes us agree that love is not enough is that, your support systems and compatibility. I'm a huge compatibility person, but I don't believe in compatibility without like the love, the affection, the attraction. No. Some people have that. Like they have the compatibility, but they don't have the attraction.
Yes.
And some people are okay with that.
Yeah.
And if you're okay with that, okay. But, I feel like, compatibility in like lifestyle, like what's day to day. I'm not even talking about like things you do once in the blue moon, like, oh, we need to be compatible on how we want to go on a vacation. No. Vacation happens every once in a while, whatever, every year, if you're lucky. Day to day living. Are you compatible with that? And once again, we talk about, compromise, but you can compromise on small things. You can't compromise on hard limits, If you have like, for example, you, in terms of like lifestyle, you want to be downtown, living in downtown, whichever city, that person's like,
or living in a different country. Yeah.
If or the person's like, nah, I'm a country person. I like being outside. I want my yard space. I want all of that stuff. That could pose a problem because either our person is going to be like, I hate it here. So the city person living in the countryside might be like, I hate living here. There's no Starbucks.
That's me. I remember I had that. One Max might want me to move to the countryside. That's why I did my face like that. And I was like, so I went there and I was like, no, it's not for me. I remember I wore heels.
In the countryside?
And they were like, I was in my full on heels, and we had to you gotta go straight down to the back dam. So the back dam, you gotta walk for like a walk.
What? Tell the people what is a back dam, because they're like, what? What are you talking about?
I don't even know. Like, how do you describe it?
I think a back dam is basically like a unpaved road, right? Like a path.
Oh my God, it was so muddy.
Yeah, it doesn't have like typical road. You have like a tar and asphalt and stuff like that. It doesn't have none of that.
Yeah, and I think it's wrong with that, but I gave it a try. It's not my cup of tea. And so, yeah, you gotta definitely know. But I definitely give it a cheap is a hard limit, a soft limit. Yeah. You can always give things a try too.
But like you said, you gotta know yourself.
Knowing yourself is so important.
So that you can better be able to say what you like, what you don't like, what you can compromise on, what you're not willing to compromise on, and so on.
Yeah.
Love languages. Oh, that's a big one. Because, let me tell you, if your partner's love language at the top is physical touch and yours is at the bottom,
you're gonna get in trouble. You're gonna be trouble.
It will be friction. Let's say that. It will be some friction and not the good kind. Wait. It will be some friction with that because you have to try hard to meet their needs, and they have to lower their needs in order to meet you. Yeah. And ultimately, it may or may not work. I don't know. It may work, may not. It's not the best. It does not give you ease. And to me, like, love, when you think about love and, its fullness, there should be a certain level of ease because, it's someone that you're actually compatible with. I know I keep going back to compatibility.
I feel compatibility is such a huge topic. So that's why I'm like, I can't, I focus on different things. But I think having somebody with the same love language as you could be considered compatible, right? So I think that's important. And we do have episodes on love language. So ensure you go and check out our episodes on love language. But love language is so important because, and when we were talking about this recently, it's like a language. And if you don't speak that language, even learning it's like learning a foreign language. For real. Because you cannot understand why it's doing this. It's so important to that person. Because to you, somebody touching, what? It's not important to you as it is to them. So it's a language that you have to learn. So honestly, guys, ask people what's their love language before.
Listen,
like for real, it's like so important because you fighting and you don't even know why you're fighting.
And another thing too, like even if your love language is not the same, to me it works also when it's close. Like for example, maybe your top one is physical touch, but my top two is physical touch. That's not too far.
That's not too far. So you definitely do the love language test. Like I think that doing that when you're getting into a relationship. I mean, now that you're already in a relationship with this person, so now you learn their love language, read books, try to do some research and stuff like that.
If you can, like, be willing to meet each other,
But if you don't know, you don't know.
You don't know. Like, for example, and it got to be reciprocal, like Shaka said earlier, it's not one-sided. You have to, a relationship is not just you giving, you got to receive as well. It's a two-way street. So you giving, they're giving as well.
Yeah.
It can't be a one-way street. That
No.
is not love. Love is not a one-way street. Then you also have to like balance like social needs, and I talked about the being introverted, extroverted scenario. Like, you gotta prioritize and compromise if it's possible.
Correct.
If you can't compromise, then I don't know. Once again, friction.
Yeah, learn. If you ladies, you get a guy like go out with your friends every Friday night and you don't want to go out.
And all the time, never.
You don't get never want to go out, you don't get trouble. Vice versa. They get some girls who like go with their friends or whatever, and some husbands you want their wife home all the time, you're gonna end up in trouble.
Yep.
Then be like, oh, why I was at home? So trust me.
Yep.
Learn these things before, right? Learn these things before. And if you're already together and you realize, oh, this person is an extrovert, this person like going out, this person like talking to me, this person friendly.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not something for you. I think you can talk about it and like it's a compromise. Like, okay,
You gotta know.
we ain't gotta go every night. But how about twice a month?
Yes, you have to compromise if possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you would know like what kind of person, and based on your personality. I know for me personally, certain type of things would not attract me. Like, and I stay clear of it. That's the truth. Like, why are you going to spaces you know that later down the road is gonna cause a problem? But
that's true.
Sometimes, the love bug might bite you unexpectedly.
Yes, exactly. And then this person is
not who you would envision for yourself.
Correct.
Now you're in a predicament. A lot of predicament. And then you're like thinking to yourself, damn, the feelings are there, but on paper, this isn't making no sense.
Exactly. But you know what? You're not happy, which I think at the end of the day is what love is all about. If you're not happy, what's the point?
Absolutely. And a lot of times, yes, you're in love, you're thinking about it now because the present is a gift. What about the future?
That's true.
What about the future? What do you envision for your life?
Yeah.
Like, like in terms of retirement, like where you're going to live, and family planning, like how many kids you're going to have and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are things that need to be in line one.
Correct.
It may not be happening right this moment, but it is something that can affect you in the future.
He want 5 kids, you want 1. What? Come on.
Not gonna work.
Not gonna work. Even if you love this person.
Yeah, you're not willing to give them what they want, and they're not willing to settle for less.
And you want to be with somebody who bothering you for kids the whole time.
Yeah.
Pressure either way.
Yeah.
Vice versa.
Exactly. And even like in your personality and like how you are willing to, how you view life and how you approach like your career or just life in general. Some people are very like ambitious, goal oriented, where they're always hopping to the next goal. Like, they have like big dreams. They're ready to conquer the world, Pinky and the Brain style. And then there's some people who are content, like, they're simple.
Yeah,
people,
simple
like,
ambitions. Yeah.
They're happy with a little, and nothing wrong with that. If again, if you're okay with that and you're in alignment with that, but it all depends on that person, and it depends on your needs with each other and stuff like that. So you have to be able to be on the same page. Ultimately, I feel like, however that may look, you have to be able to be on the same page with each other. So yeah, so I feel like we talk about like what is love. We know that love is an affection, a feeling. It can also be a verb as well. If you're a Christian, you the whole 1 Corinthians 13, chapter 13, talk about love is kind, love is patient, love is love suffering, all of that stuff. It goes to show that what we're saying is that in order for love to actually work and actually matter, it has to go beyond the feelings.
Yes, it's true. It has to go beyond the feelings.
The non-feeling things need to make sense, essentially.
Yeah, and compatibility is important, but your happiness is important.
Yes. It needs to make sense. And the older you get, the more sense it needs to make.
Yeah, it needs to make sense, exactly. Why if you know You love this person, but every night you're crying. That is not love. I can't even.
Like, when you were young, in your teen years, early 20s.
People be crying People be crying old and they crying. Bro, no, I'm sorry. Nothing is wrong with crying. You're hurt, you cry. Feelings is feelings, but you can't be crying every night. Something is wrong. You can't be crying every night. At what point you're going to be like, my eyes need to stay dry? At what point? Come on, man.
Ooh la la.
Come on. Every day is a fight. Every day is a problem. Like, come on. What is that?
Stop making excuses for that guy who's mistreating you. That's not love. It is not,
It's not love. Yeah, come on. Even your girlfriends, boyfriends be tired every time you call in about this.
Oh, yes. Be sick and tired.
At some point, you got to realize that the love is not enough. And you be like, but I love them. But you're crying. You're unhappy. I'm sorry. That can't just be the one thing. You want to be happy in the long term. And sometimes, you know what? You think back by that person and be like, oh, that was such a nice feeling.
Yes.
I feel that's okay,
yes. Sometimes
but you don't have to stay in the problem. I feel looking back and be like, oh, that was such a nice time in my life.
Yeah. And I feel like some people a lot of times wait until things go really bad to leave. Mm-hmm. Like, you got to assess where you're at right now in the present with that person. And really ask yourself, is this the person you can see yourself, envision your future with? Mm-hmm. Is this person going to help you, meet your goals, your shared goals, And if they're not, why are we still wasting time?
Yeah, and it can't be for the kids.
Father's Day episode, so check that one out as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So let us know what you think, right? Mm-hmm. Kiana's team compatibility. I'm team happy. Mm-hmm. Are you team love? What is the most important thing in a relationship? And is love enough for you?
All right, guys, it's brought us to the end of our episode. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, like, share it with your loved ones, leave a comment, let us know, like Shaka said, if love is enough for you. Follow us on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram at Enlightening and Healing. Once again, we appreciate your support. If you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. Please.
Pretty please.
Pretty please with a cherry on top. Subscribe. If you don't have a YouTube channel, a YouTube account, create one. It's free. Support your girls. But anyways, thank you once again for tuning in to Enlightening and Healing. Remember, as always, to
bust a lime. See you next time.